Right, now there is plenty of boxing news around this lunchtime live with the breaking news we just brought you that Josh Taylor, Scotland's Josh Taylor, former undisputed champion, has announced his retirement this lunchtime. And we are still reflecting on the brilliance of Oleksandr Usyk, cementing his place among boxing's all-time greats after becoming undisputed world heavyweight champion for a second time at the weekend when he outclassed Daniel Dubois and then knocked him out at Wembley. He's now 24 and is Usyk. Let's get more on this with the former world champion, Johnny Nelson. Hello, Johnny. Thanks so much for joining us live. Before we get on to Usyk, and there's plenty to get in with Oleksandr Usyk, could you just give us your reaction to that breaking news that Josh Taylor has announced his retirement this lunchtime?
You know, it's very hard for any fighter to actually publicly say, that's me, I'm done, I'm out of it. So once you've made it public, that's part of the journey there. And you understand if the commitment, the drive, the ambition, getting up at stupid o'clock in the morning is now a negotiation, you know it's time to walk away. So I think Josh has done the right thing in regards to our sport and not staying in it too long and making the sport retire him. So good luck in whatever he decides to carry on doing. I'm quite sure he'll be a decent trainer. He's a very strong personality, so I'm quite sure he'd be able to pass a lot of his knowledge on to a lot of the other fighters.
Yeah, undisputed champion as well. There aren't many British boxers that can say that they've had that next to their name. Where does Josh sit among some of the great Scottish world boxing champions? I'm thinking Ken Buchanan, Ricky Burns, Alex Arthur. Where does he sit among them?
Well, you've got to go down to how your local public look at you, how they look at you, how they redeem you, how they glorify you. But you'll not get true credit until many years down the line. The previous guys you just mentioned, they were the history makers. And even though Joshua achieved an outstanding accolade, only time will tell where he'll go down, but his name's in their books, and regardless, nobody can ever take that away from him. Once you become a world champion, and a unified one at that, there's very few fighters that ever had that accolade. Yeah,
very few. Oleksandr Usyk keeps doing it, though, doesn't he? He's 3 times undisputed now. Another stunning performance against Daniel Dubois this weekend. It seems a simplistic question. Is he now considered one of the all-time greats?
He's got to be. He's got to be. It's not just the fashion of the win, and it's not just how this guy performs inside the ring. What makes these guys stand out amongst the rest is how they are outside the ring as well, how they conduct themselves, how they are revered by the public, how if they're approachable, do they set standards? And Oleksandr Usyk, this guy's from the Ukraine. He had more fans there at Wembley Stadium than Daniel Dubois did, who's from England. The cheers, there was nobody booing him when he won. A win that was well deserved. How he was respectful before, during, and after the fight. It's somebody that you would just do nothing but respect. Now this guy's in a great position. He's 38 in January. This guy's in a great position where he can say, he could walk away today, tomorrow, and no matter what, we will be talking about him because he's left a trail of destruction here in the UK. The way he dismantled Daniel Dubois on Saturday, I've never seen him actually predict a fight. He predicted 6 rounds, but you know he finished him in 5 rounds. But the fashion of which he did it in, I've always said that when Usyk fights you once, if you fight him a second time, he'll beat you better. He's downloaded. He's got a download of how he deals with you. And what he did to Daniel, he took away everything, all his attributes. He took away his jab, took away his power, took away his movement, took away his confidence to the point where Daniel was putting his backside on the floor thinking, wow, you know, we're only in round 5 here and I'm getting chopped up. And this guy, Usyk, did a great job on how he conducted himself in the ring afterwards, showed the appreciation to the Wembley fans. You know, this guy will go down in history as, you know what, it's not very often we're able to say that. And unfortunately, we struggle to say it about our own when it is well deserved. He deserves it, without a doubt.
Yeah, everyone will have their different favourites when you go back through history. You've got those that will always lean towards Ali, those that lived through the era of Mike Tyson and the jab of Larry Holmes, and then people like myself who saw Lennox Lewis coming through and becoming undisputed. Which of those greats through the history do you think would have lined up for the best fight with Oleksandr Usyk?
You know, I've been asked that a couple of times, and I think it's unfair to ask that of Oleksandr Usyk or even to compare them all to any of those greats. You know, that's just a preference. And the reason why I say that is because Oleksandr Usyk have gotten rid of everybody that was around at his time. So therefore, you've got to look at all the fights that are around at his time. He's got rid of them. So then you've got to look at the caliber of the fights that are around. Because if you look at Ali, at one point you had people like Cleveland Big like Cat Williams or Sonny Liston. These guys were like a modern. Sonny Liston was like a modern day Mike Tyson. And he got rid of them. Then again around the George Foreman time and Joe Fraser's time. So it's very hard to compare him to them because of his successes. His styles makes fights. If you ask me personally, I think Lennox Lewis would beat him. I think Ali definitely would beat him. But then it's just a personal opinion. It's because I'm old enough to remember these guys and be inspired by them. And Oleksandr Usyk, again, 24 fights in, done an amazing job in such a short space of time at the age he's at. So you can only give him pure credit, and not just because of what he's done in the ring. It's how he's conducted himself outside the ring.
Yeah, he says he wants to box on, and he seems fresh as a daisy, even though his years would suggest maybe that's not the case. There's a few options for him. None of them really whet the appetite as much as a Tyson Fury third fight. Would you agree with that?
Without a doubt. Remember, this guy's getting paid a disgusting amount of money. And so, therefore, if he gets in the ring, whoever's in the other corner, they've got to justify that. And I think the only people that are around, because we've got rid of all the top dogs, are Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua, because these guys will sell out Wembley. Wembley wasn't full, even though it was a great spectacle. Wembley wasn't full, and I always said at this current moment in time, you've got to have an AJ, you've got to have a Fury in the opposite corner because they have that crossover appeal. Usyk's done an amazing job because he's slowly but surely getting that crossover appeal. He's not even from the UK. Who would you put him in with now? Who is there? Moses Atam, who's a young man coming through. Has he got that popularity? Has he got that draw yet? I don't know. He will do eventually if he keeps going the right direction. Would it be too early? I think it would. Tyson Fury. Would you want to see a third Tyson Fury fight? He's beaten twice already. Would you want to see a third Anthony Joshua fight? He's beaten twice already. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, again, if you're a fighting man, you'll always want to have the opportunity to try and do it again. Doesn't mean you believe you can tear these guys up and get in there, but you think, I'm a fighter. I want to have a go. So both these fighters that 2-3 years ago, they were top of the tree. The heavyweight landscape has now changed where they're actually on the outside looking in rather than on the inside getting the job done. So this is Father Time telling us to all behave ourselves and get in line. And you don't know who's coming through. It might be Moses Tom. It might be Josie Parker. But you've just got to wait and see. Moses Tom was probably the favourite you look toward because you see pure talent from such a young man. But it's about, if Oleksandr Usyk wants to carry on boxing, he's got to decide if there's nobody, you haven't got a decent dance partner, you're going to struggle. And that's where it gets dangerous, because if you're in there with somebody that you don't think is your level, is your standard, that's when you start to kind of, you think, oh, this is an easy job, this. And that's when you get turned over.
Yep, dangerous game. Johnny, thanks so much for talking to us.
No problem, Chris.